Welcome to the C Word Podcast. I'm Semaj, and I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. Don't let the name fool you. The C, as you will find, is all about you. What we desire to do here is create a conversation around my book, The C Word, and some of the principles behind it, to lead you, the seeker, on a journey of freedom. Freedom from limiting thoughts, borrowed beliefs, and false perceptions. A journey of self-truth. If you're already on a path, then it's to help bring clarity on the journey. I've walked the path. I can help you identify the walls you've built and the ruts that you're in, and give you some tools to create a new life. I'm a hands-on healer of energy and light, teacher of my own integrative flow technique. I'm a student of the universal law of one, and a certified life coach, helping you to get clear your direction. I'm called father, husband, grandfather, Sifu, and guru. I'm on this journey with you. We are one. My desire is to live this quote, which simply says, "The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see." Let's begin. Hey fam. Today begins a 3-part journey into the land of Plato. Plato was an Athenian philosopher during the classical period in ancient Greece. He was the founder of the Platonist school of thought and the academy. And that was the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. More directly, we're going to be looking at one of his works from the book Platos Republic. More specifically, book 7, that's called The Allegory of the Cave. And this was written around 380 BC, which is significant for me. But when a person, to me, considers themselves to be open or woke to higher and contemplative thought, I think this is an awesome place to start. Let's begin. This is episode 3. I call it All About the Cave, part 1. The Shadows. Welcome. This is gonna kind of suck for those of you that are driving at this moment, because I want you to do some imagining, closing your eyes while I attempt to paint a picture. There will, however, be a link to my YouTube page for the videos about the Allegory of the Cave. I recorded those a couple years ago, but they'll say essentially the same thing. But today, we'll be creating in our minds the cave. Dun, dun, dun. The cave that Plato presented in his book, The Republic. It's awesome. As usual, I want you to look it up. Go read and receive this knowledge for yourself. Because remember, I'm not here to lead you. I'm here to point you in a direction. And if you hang around long enough, you'll figure out the difference. Okay? First, what is an allegory? And I'm going to read this to you. An allegory is a story, a poem, or picture that can be interpreted, to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political meaning. Now, today, our allegory is pointing to the moral aspects, but you will be able to hear how some of these concepts translate into political thought. Are you ready? Here we go. If possible, I want you to imagine darkness. You are sitting in a cave of utter darkness. You can feel that you are chained to a wall. Your hands and feet are bound, and your back is against the wall. And you're not alone. In fact, you can sense that there's a community of people chained here. Young and old, men, women, children. And please, don't concern yourself with how they're fed or use the bathroom or all those side thoughts. You are just here in the darkness. Suddenly, from someplace far to your left, a person shouts, "They will speak now." Everyone gets quiet, and you see a light that starts to glow, and the light grows seemingly from above and behind the wall that you're chained to. As the light gets brighter, you start to recognize some of the people chained to the wall with you. Your parents, some of your friends, siblings, and you see very old people, some babies, and even the person who shouted. He's the one simply known as the first leader. Now, above and in front of you, these four large shadows appear. And you recognize the shapes because your parents told you who they are every time they show up. And the names that you've given them are the names that you have to call them because that's what you've been told. And to call them anything else would be blasphemy. So these shadows' names are Ajar and the Ors and Zerkul and Polly. They are the shadow gods. Dun, dun, dun. You know them because you've been told who they are all your life. And your parents, all of their lives. When you see them, you react as you have been told to react. You learn to obey them, for each one has the laws, the rules which you follow as everybody does. Sometimes the shadow god Ajar shows up without any kind of warning. But it seems that it speaks only with the first leader. And it's always in a whisper. Now everybody knows that in those times, the first leader has to decide who in the community is going to be punished for the community's disobedience. Usually, is for asking questions of the first leader, or worse, the shadow gods. Now that person that's selected is then taken to a sacred place in a sacred ritual, and then they sacredly disappear to a place that you've called yonder. That's where all questioners go. And of course, it's a place of your worst nightmares. Each god has an attribute. So a jar is called the god of law. The Eos is the god of joy. Zercule is the god of food. And Pali is the god of death. You've learned to know them for who they are. And most importantly, although different from each other, they are one. Now you're just a young adult in this community. You, like all the others, follow the rules, speak when spoken to, and whisper with those who you think are safe. Your whispers are about two things. Two thoughts that started out quiet, but now they've become burning desires to know. The first, what if? The second one, you've been asking since you could speak, and it won't go away. Why? Why? These two questions that are whispered in the dark parts of the cave and in your mind are the driving forces of change in this allegory. There is freedom, but for the most part, there's danger in following this line of questioning. You just want the truth. But you can't handle the truth. Or can you? Think on this for a moment. We've seen how life is in the shadows. We know what we know and not what we don't know. You begin to realize that everything we've known thus far is only what we've been told, passed down for who knows how long. Is that then actually truth? Maybe so, if it's all you know. It's called truth from one perspective. The law of allowance says that you get to have that, and without my truth being affected. And it also means that neither of us gets to judge the other as wrong or anything else. But you know from someplace deep inside that there's more. So much more to be said. What if? What happens when the what if actually happens? Stay tuned for part 2 of All About the Cave, the Escape. Till next time, this is Semaj. I leave you in the love and the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth, therefore, and rejoice in the power and the peace of the one infinite Creator. Namaste. That wraps it up for today's episode. I appreciate you all for listening and watching this podcast. It matters to me. If you'd like to go deeper on any topic, we have additional resources linked in the show notes. If you're getting value from this show or have feedback, feel free to reach out to me at semaj@agreatnewyou.com or by leaving us a rating here. Thanks for listening. Namaste.